Day.
And joining us now in the studio, Representative Kevin Horan. He represents District 34. That encompasses Carroll, Grenada, Holmes, LaFleur, and Tallahatchie counties. Is that right?
That's
Chairman?
correct.
Yeah, and the chairman of the House Corrections Committee. Welcome back. Appreciate you joining us today. You guys have been quite active down there at the legislature. A lot going on here the first 3 weeks of the session. Like Senator Polk said when he was on last week, though, something usually pops up that we don't even anticipate that can often take the air out of the chambers. We'll see. It seems like we got enough on the plate right now to keep us busy.
Pretty hot topics there right now.
Well, let's talk first about stuff that's going on in your committee, in the Corrections Committee. What are you working on there, Representative Horan?
Well, as you know, we thank you for having me today, Gerard.
You bet.
We are, we passed 2795 through both chambers. The governor signed it that basically expanded eligibility for inmates. And what came along with that was a lot of conversation with members that, that were not really in favor of it, came to Chairman Barnett and myself and said, okay, now that we're going to expand eligibility, where are we going to be on having them ready to be released?
Right.
So we're looking at reentry. And if you look at corrections and a corrections budget, there's nothing more costly in corrections than reentry. And,
sure.
You can house someone for a certain amount of money, $45 a day, whatever it is now. But when you talk about training people while they're in custody for workforce training, things of that nature, and get them prepared for life skills going out, it's very expensive. So we're looking at trying to figure out how we can do a lot of that inside the gate and outside the gate.
Okay.
And moving forward to make some of these individuals, hopefully, when they come out, to be more productive citizens. Yeah,
because it just seems like that if we convict them, we sentence them, we lock them up, and they go out, and then they're likely to either commit the same crimes or even different crimes. But more importantly, they're just unable to integrate into society and produce. We really hadn't achieved anything. We just spent a bunch of money is all we've done, and we got nothing for it. We got no return for that.
Well, as I've talked to a number of members that come to me and say, look, I've got this young man, a young lady that they've been paroled, but they have nowhere to go. They have no direction or anything like that. And so they get back into the same environment that they were in before they went in. Yeah. And so we're trying to do some things and to move that needle just a little bit so they don't, at least a larger percentage of them don't find themselves back in the corrections. And there's a lot of workforce training, a lot of employers that I've talked with about some things. They're anxious to see what kind of workforce that we can train because they need workers.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talented people in that are doing time. I mean, unfortunate circumstances put certain people in prison that may never reoffend. There are some that need some life skill training to make sure that their opportunities to succeed are better. But employers are reaching out to us and saying, we need workers. Yeah. Send us what what you can that we can look at and determine whether or not we can put them to work. But we need to do some of those things.
It seems like the attitude from employers has changed in that arena, has it not? I mean, there was a time when employers were very hesitant to hire folks that had a record. Right. Even a misdemeanor record would cause problems for them. But the market has a tendency to influence that. They need workers. They need workers, and they're willing to work with the system and work people and employ them even with a record. And so we're seeing I think a change in attitude there.
Well, last year we passed House Bill 747, and basically it was in Rankin County, Sheriff Bailey, and he's done a good job of moving that forward. And I was talking to D.A. Bramlett last night, and he indicated to me that one of the employers over there reports to the sheriff that some of the best workers he has coming out on the work program are he said they're doing a good job. And hopefully we can we can replicate that in other areas through MDOC. Chairman Barnett has a bill on the Senate side to allow corrections to do some things outside the gate. And also we're looking at some other vendors that we can maybe access to get them involved in getting some of, some of the population that's going to be paroled, or some of these individuals, like in Sheriff Bailey's program, that haven't been to Parchman yet. They're trying to. It's almost like a not reentry but pre-entry type thing, trying to keep them out of MDOC, and they work it's been successful. We have 2 bills on the House side and 2 bills on the Senate side to expand that throughout the state. Now, Rankin County and some of the larger counties financially are better equipped to handle that type program. We're trying to look at some ways to make it more accessible to some of the rural counties, that they can have employers that can access those individuals.
I think certainly at a minimum, emulating the good work that Sheriff Bailey is doing in Rankin County to the extent possible in the other counties, and just sort of collecting and publishing and communicating those best practices. That just makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense, and people aren't as I shouldn't say as concerned, but they seem to be a little more tolerant with the fact that we can put a population out of MDOC that can be productive citizens.
And we're not talking about people that just have no chance of being rehabilitated. Right. They're just some people that I think need to be incarcerated and for the benefit to protect society.
That's what a lot of people. That's what MDOC is built for. Is
right.
For them. And they need to be there, and they don't need to ever be out. And that's not a small population either.
Right.
And but there are. That segment of the population, especially with some of the stuff we have going on and the opioid problems, things of that nature, that are good people, do bad things sometimes, do things society has to be protected from them at that time, but that doesn't mean that they don't need to be given a second chance if they can rehabilitate themselves, get to work.
And Commissioner Kane, DOC, seems to have a really good perspective on that. He's really good about discerning in that respect, and that's important.
Very qualified for the position he's in. He knows corrections. He knows people as well. He does a good job figuring out what programs work for certain people at MDOC, and hopefully we can look. I told the speaker that at the end of session last time, I said, we've expanded parole for those individuals that, in an effort not only to save money but to make it fair to all inmates. But it's the most next year is going to be the heavy lift, is reentry, and it's an expensive endeavor. There's nothing cheap about reentry programming.
Well, it's expensive keeping them locked up too. It's expensive for them to I guess return to society and not be productive. That costs us all too, or worse yet, fall back into a life of crime.
Correct.
That costs money. Costs us all money.
You're going to have a certain population that's going to do that, regardless how hard. But you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah, and I'm heartened to hear, and I've heard it before about the success in Rankin County, where employers are coming back and saying, these are amongst my best employees, and so that means that there's a way, there's a methodology there. So that's good to hear. Yeah, it certainly is. Well, can you hang around? We got about a minute left on this segment, but you got some important high-profile legislation that is meandering its way through the couple of chambers there. We got the medical marijuana bill over in the Senate, now in the House, I believe.
That's correct.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, Senator Bryan moved to recommit, but I think we're past that and it's been transmitted to the House. Right.
It's over on our side for our consideration.
Yeah. So we got that going on. We got the tax reform. We got the teacher pay raise as well. We got 2 versions of that, one in the Senate, one in the House. Chairman Bennett in the House says our bill's better. Right. That's what he said. I think. Of
course it is.
I think I'm accurately quoting him. I think Senator DeBar may take exception to that. But they're fairly similar, honestly.
Right.
Slightly different approaches there. The governor made it clear this was a high priority for him. I interviewed him back at the Neshoba County Fair in the summer, and in fact, he listed it as his top legislative priority. So anyhow, we have 2 bills that are likely to get exchanged, and we'll see what we end up with after the sausage is made. We got a break right here. Representative Kevin Horan is our guest in the SuperTalk Studios. We'll come back with more on Midday. Stay with Mississippi. Representative Kevin Horan is in the SuperTalk Studios. We are right in the midst of the 2022 legislative session. So just your thoughts, if any, on the medical marijuana bill that has passed the Senate by overwhelming margin.
Well,
so
Gerard, the people have spoken on that they want it. Mm-hmm. But I think we need to be concerned about moving forward. I don't want what I characterize as wild, wild west, like other states have, wide open. Any place, anywhere. I think we need to be involved in it to the extent that we. I'm not saying move at a snail's pace, but be deliberate in our approach to this. I've prosecuted for a number of years, and I do a lot of criminal defense work, and I see some of the things that I'm concerned about with some of this with the medical marijuana. I mean, it's just look, there's a need for it in some shape, form, or fashion, but as far as us, and I haven't gone through I got bullet points on the Senate version, but I haven't read it. It's pretty extensive. I've been tied up with my own stuff. It's a big bill, but I just think we need to, err on the side of caution with it.
Yeah, and I think that's reasonable.
I don't think that we need to. I mean, I think we need to do it in a manner that, I think that and I'm not saying that we need to pattern it exactly by the lottery, but the lottery's worked pretty well, the way that's set up things of that nature that you can, move forward and have people and professionals involved in moving this thing forward.
Yeah. The structure, hats off to those who drafted, just digress a little bit, the Lottery Act, the Alice G. Clark Lottery Act, named after Representative Alice Clark, who was a huge proponent of establishing a lottery in the state of Mississippi. Really the framework and the structure there, where it's organized and really set up more as a private organization, and it's run. Having served on the board now since inception, we really run it like a private company.
Right, and if you're going to do it, I think that's the way it needs to be done.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that disagree with me, which is okay too, but I think we need to, proceed with caution. Like I said, it just is a problem not to do it. To do it otherwise, it's going to be problematic.
Fair enough. Yeah. So we'll be checking that out. We'll be watching where all that goes. I appreciate your candor on that. All right. So tax reform, which is the Speaker has said that is his top priority, and we got that bill that I think has been improved since the original bill that passed in the 21 session.
Correct.
So that's headed.
I agree.
That's headed to the Senate, and we'll see what happens there. It's they're kind of they being those in the Senate, the lieutenant governor and others, kind of in leadership positions over there. They're sort of playing their cards close to the vest.
Close to the vest.
Yeah,
very close to the vest.
So it does seem like there's a general opinion amongst the leaders in government that some degree of tax reform is needed, and in particular to phase out the income tax. It's just the method, right, and the mechanics on how we do that.
It makes everybody nervous about it.
Yeah.
And it should, but, it's sales tax is a much fairer tax to everybody, in my opinion.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't talk about it, and I will, just briefly, but when we were going through some of the CARES Act or whatever, how you want money that people were PPP money, and a lot of people that were trying to get it didn't qualify because, and they were business people that couldn't get it because they hadn't filed income tax for a number of years, and so
we learned that, didn't we?
Yes, we did, and we, it's not fair that some of them are business owners and they're still buying cars, groceries.
Yep. Skirting their taxes. They're talking about state taxes here.
Correct. State taxes. Yeah.
But if they hadn't filed their state taxes, that probably means they didn't file their federal taxes either. So it's possible.
It's possible to do it otherwise.
Yeah.
Not
likely.
Not likely.
I would agree.
I just think it's a more fair tax.
I just remember when all that was going on, and of course we also created an aid program for businesses. I don't remember the exact name of it, Representative Horan, but I think I remember talking to Senator Hobson about that, and folks were asking me, okay, how come I can't qualify, and where's my money? And Briggs, at that point, is when he disclosed on the show, well, because we're finding out you hadn't filed your tax return.
Ever.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Exactly. I mean, and that's just not right. But it takes a lot of resources, as you know, to chase all that down and to police all that, if you will, the Department of Revenue.
You eliminate a lot of that by the sales tax.
Yeah.
And that just eliminates a lot of.
It's captured at the point of sale.
That's correct.
That's when you pay up. I know some folks object to that. So the governor said that he really would still like to see about eliminating the income tax without increasing taxes anywhere else. And, of course, the two main sources of revenue to the state are the income tax and sales taxes. And, that comprises what, I think, between the two of those, 85, 90% or so of our total revenue in the general fund, at least. Not talking about
everybody
transportation.
would like to do that.
Yeah, I would too.
But I don't see us having the ability to do that with every state agency coming to us and saying, I cannot keep good people, whether it be MDOT, whether it be corrections.
Yeah.
I'm losing people to the private sector because I can't keep certain. I mean, everything's more costly than it was. Some people in state government hadn't had raises in 16 years. I mean, we want, I'm not saying to expand government, but we do need to pay those individuals, school teachers as well, what they're worth, and keeping them in. I talked to a number of people at MDOT to say, look, we're losing engineers to the private sector, and we need to increase the pay to some of these folks. And we can't do that without at least maintaining some of the, everybody depends on growth. And we've had good growth, but that doesn't mean it's going to happen forever.
Yeah. It's interesting where all that's going to go, because the governor seems to be fairly entrenched in his position that he doesn't favor elimination of the income tax while offsetting it with increases in the sales tax. Now, the neat thing about this particular bill is that we're increasing general sales tax, decreasing grocery tax, and decreasing the cost of those confounded license plates, which I think everybody
is in favor of that.
Complains about. I mean, that's been we have ranked high amongst the states in terms of the cost of a car tag.
Right.
But it's been a major source of revenue, particularly with the diversions to the counties and municipalities, and the bill, of course, covers that to the municipal jurisdictions, so they are made whole in that respect, even though we're cutting the tax.
Well, I don't think that, getting to the sales tax aspect of it, I don't think a business is not going to locate in Mississippi because of the sales tax.
The 1.5%, and it still keeps us below the neighboring states.
But they are going to frown on or decide whether or not they come in based on the income tax situation. So, we're not. I don't think that that's a heavy lift for us to, like you say, we're below the neighboring states. That's basically all we can ask. So I don't think that's a big issue. I disagree with the governor on that, but anyway, I respect his opinion.
Yeah, sure. Well, the Legislative Budget Office produced what they call a fiscal note that analyzed the legislation and did essentially a 2-year projection of what that would mean, the increases of sales tax, the decreases of income tax, car tags, grocery tax, and they put a pro forma together, if you will, which looks very positive. It would be nice to see first the out years beyond the first couple of years where we have somewhat of a cushion that is included in their model from surpluses that we've produced. But I'd like to see something on the governor's proposal as well. So if he or his folks are listening, I think that's a fair and reasonable question. Sure. So provide us a pro forma so we can analyze that as well.
We got to be to move forward. You got to plan 15 years from now. We can't plan for the next couple of years.
Agree.
Anyway, that's
totally
15,
agree.
20, whatever.
All right. What else you got going on down there?
The education, the teacher pay raise quite naturally is going to be a hot topic, but I'm certainly in favor of paying teachers more and entry-level teachers. But the only thing I have 5 kids under the age of 16.
Okay.
I want year-round school.
You do?
No, I'm just kidding.
I disagree with that, by the way.
No,
I know
I'm not.
My friend Representative Nick Bain, they have that in Corinth. Of course,
I was telling I need them in school year round. My wife needs them in school year round. But no, I think that we need to give them a pay raise, and we need entry level is important. Is increasing them entry level is something critical to us moving forward.
Well, we'll be tracking those two bills as they make their way through the respective chambers and the other legislation as well. And Representative Horan, always good to see you, my friend. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Troy.
You got it.
Glad to have you.
We'll be back with more talk here on Middays. We got more in store for you. Stay with us.